All right then. Hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Creators of Products Founders Unfiltered. We're very happy today to be back with two amazing founders, and of course Govind, who's been the rock solid strength here for a lot of months now. Today with us we have Manit and Mukul. They are an amazing set of founders who've created a very interesting company. But before we do that, I'd let them tell us something about themselves so that we get on to what kind of founders they are and how they went about founding a company. So first of all, welcome Mukul, welcome Manit. Very happy to have you here. Thanks for agreeing to do this. A lot of founders take a lot of inspiration from other founders, upcoming founders. They have the same struggles, usually don't share. So this is a great platform for all of them to understand the struggle is real and it's with everyone. Thanks for doing this. Welcome. Either one of you can go ahead and
Right.
let us know.
Yeah. So firstly, like before we begin, we want to personally thank you for letting us do this, sharing our journey, and getting a chance to basically just get on together
It's,
and
it's
have a
just a
chat.
pleasure being here and like telling everyone that how a startup journey, what it feels like, and what it holds, what significance it holds to come to this stage and tell everyone like it feels amazing, right? Truly
Yeah.
feels amazing. Thanks for
So
the
thank you for that. Thank you, Govind. Thank you for all the team at the Creators of Products. So I'll just quickly introduce me, myself, and then probably Mukul can introduce himself.
Yeah.
We'll introduce our team as well. So I am Manati Prashar. I am the co-founder at Qricle, and I take care of the sales and marketing. So yeah, Mukul.
Yeah, so I take care. I'm Mukul. So I am the CTO and CEO of the company. So I handle all the operations and technical stuff. So I build the stack of the company and maintain it in a certain way of architecture. So yeah, that's my job. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Awesome. Thanks a lot. So he's then the CEO or are you the
yeah,
CEO? Who's the
I'm the
CEO?
CEO. I'm the
Yes,
CEO.
I'm the CTO and COO.
CEO. All right.
Yeah.
Because with the two-member team, it's
It's
usually
always.
yeah. Awesome. So let us know what the company is about and what do you do other than what others do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll take this. So at Qricle, what we're basically building is, what we're doing is we're building a software as a service product for the hotel industry, who essentially face a huge communication gap between the hotel service and the guest demands. So what ends up happening is then there's improper utilization of resources, there's loss in revenue. So what we do for the same problem is at Qricle, we bring all of the hotel services onto guest smartphones, so the guest can access it just by scanning a QR code or pressing on the WhatsApp link. So it's a progressive web-based application, and there's no need to download any application. So our entire aim is to just control the entire guest journey from check-in to checkout. So all of us here travel and stay at hotels, right? So hotels are right now relying on conventional ways, food menus, landline systems, the typical which has been going on for decades now. So where we essentially the gap that we're trying to bridge over here is that there is too much dependency on manual workforce when it comes to handling integracies, the guest requests and everything, right? So that's when at Qricle, we're just putting all of the services onto guest smartphones and providing hoteliers a platform through which they could run campaigns inside the property, upsell, cross-sell their services, basically build a deep-rooted relationship with the guests staying inside the property. So that's Qricle in a brief, yeah.
Awesome. So first question that actually comes to my mind, is this agnostic of what hotel it is, or do hotels also have to sign up for it?
Yeah. So basically what happens is that it's a B2B2C product. So the end consumer is the guest only, but our customer, our primary customer who pays us is the hotel itself. So hotel decides that whether their guest can avail the opportunity of using Qricle in their hotel systems or not. But a benefit of that is that we build a layer above their already technology that is used inside a hotel, which goes by the name of property management system. We build a layer above that, and what we do is we bridge a gap between the guest and the PMS system, since it has been covered for decades now with manual workforce, and adding on and on and on manual workforce leads to like a unemployment inside the hotel itself, right? So it's a cost that no hotel wants, and it's a system that every hotel almost wants just to
Already
increase
has.
efficiency. Yeah.
Correct. So then it's the customer's prerogative to start using it, but
Yeah.
it's the hotel's facility on top of which you build that PWA.
Yeah,
All
you
right,
can put it that
awesome.
way.
Awesome. Okay. Before I give it to Govind, how did you come about figuring this as a gap in the market, or what did you stumble upon, and how did you stumble upon it?
Yeah, Mani, do you want to take this? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start and then you can carry on from there. So, basically I'll just dive a deep back into as to how the journey started of Qricle, right? Where was the seed born? So essentially before even Qricle was, we started working on it full time. Mukul and I were together working in a media agency. So with that, we both used to run it together. So we used to make campaigns and for brands out there, for Marriott, Honda, Jeep, and we used to work for different companies, and we used to work in a service-based business, right? So essentially from that we were doing pretty well, and we were doing good. So we just thought of that there was a point in our life where it felt like that we're doing so much for so much other businesses, right? We're helping them grow, we're helping them do this, but at the end of the day what we're missing was that the attachment of the product, right? Because since if it's your own product, and if you are putting all the eggs in the same basket, then essentially it's an altogether different feeling, right? Because you take that product to 0 to 100, probably even beyond that. So
Yeah.
then what happened was Mukul and I was having a word. So we were like, yeah, we don't want to do this anymore. We just want to do something, figure this out. And Mukul at that time had already started working on Qricle. So he was working on it as a side project. He essentially started doing with restaurants. So restaurants QR code, you must have seen other guys do it, Dot Pay and everyone, right? So he had started it with restaurants. So that is how Qricle started, like that we used to just scan the QR code on the restaurant's table. You could order food from there and everything. But it was then when we also decided, we quit the media agency. We were like, yeah, let's focus on this. And once Mukul and I sat together, right, since I also come from a family of hoteliers, so we together figured out that what if we do the same thing but for hotels, because the gap there and the entire guest cycle there is comparatively very huge instead of a restaurant, right? So the problem in which we faced in restaurants was, which there is a very thin line. Like, for example, if I am sitting in a restaurant, I would rather call the waiter and give him the order instead of me going through the QR code and having to do that, right? But in a hotel, you're staying there for 3 days. There are not just food services, there are a number of other services, right? And there's the gap there is huge. So that's when we
and plus there was an add-on to that, is that hotel is massively used by these corporates, and these corporates, when the business people go inside a hotel, they have a lot of meetings in the day. They are very tired when they get to the hotel. It's like 7 or 8 p.m. They don't want to get into call with anyone, not even the front desk. And we respect the hotel industry a lot. The front desk guys take it a lot. They handle all the complaints. The issue is created by another department and the complaint goes to the front desk. So hats off to that guy. So we are simplifying that problem over there. So everything gets streamlined inside a hotel, and the business person gets everything on time with increased efficiency inside a hotel. That is a proper aim to do that.
Awesome. Govind, you've got a question?
Yes. Hi guys. No, so I mean, Manita and Mukul, I've had a chance to demo the app. It seemed so obvious, right? So Shruti, today, say I'm going for a holiday next week. So if I'm going with kids, whether some hotels need buggies, call for the buggy, pick up the laundry, reserve a table. It seems so obvious, but why hasn't it come up till now? And especially given so many hotels are family owned, why the ease of use seems it's a given. I mean, it hasn't come up. So how come you guys hit upon it and no one has come up with it?
So basically, we get this question a lot these times, because whenever we tell this idea to everyone, like, hasn't someone already come up with this? Why hasn't he already? So the point is that the hotel industry has been a very traditional industry till now. They have been using only those PMS systems for over 25 years, and they have it on their muscle memory to punch certain number of keys and input a guest and input a product inside a PMS system, right? So the people are not from this industry who are building this product. They are purely technical guys. So it's a blessing to have Manit with me here, who is already a hotelier. So I get to use all these products. So it's important. It gets important to not to add on to the load of the staff. The product should not create a mess for them. It should be an ally for them rather than a competitor for them, right?
No, my question is, how come no one thought of it? Is it just the traditional part, or means globally, is there an example that has done well and that has scaled?
I'll
Right.
tell you, yeah.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, what has happening in the, like Mukul said, like in the hotel industry, I'll tell you psychology of how hoteliers think, right? Even from 5-star hoteliers guys out there to the individual hoteliers. So what they're like is jo cheez unko, like what they're very used to how the hoteliers are being operated. So they feel like if there's nothing that's like this is, we cannot go beyond this, right? It's like if this is how it's being done for decades now, there's only so much that we could do, right? If you tell them that, oh, you have to scan the QR code and you'll get to do this, you'll get to do that, they won't even take that extra step to go out there because they're so used to, they it's almost like don't solve which is not broken, right? So they have this mentality in mind, and so we figured out, like for example, no, there were people, those who in the back in the days, you would have seen that some hotels had started to install tablets, right, for them to order and everything. So they some of them, those who had the capacity, had the budget, wanted to do something like this before. But the problem with that again was that the hardware cost was there for them to install each and every tablet and everything, right? So it's not like someone hasn't thought of something like this before, but we wanted to just make sure that we're able to provide this to all the hoteliers at a very low cost and with no hardware installation. So that's
And,
where no one else has done that, right?
And that was an add-on to build a system like which has been already operated over 25 years inside a hotel. So we build on their muscle memory. We don't create new muscle memories. We build on the previous muscle memories that have already been input in their hard coded into their hands. So it's easier for them to adapt to this software rather than adapting to other softwares in market. So people have already done it, but people haven't been able to crack the staff mindset of what goes inside a hotel.
Yeah, I think that for me is the value proposition of the company. You're not making a new thing. You're letting them use their only thing that's already there in an easier manner.
No, Shruti, one more question I have before I hand it to you. So I'm actually going tomorrow for a 5-day holiday with my newborn and my elder kid. So it's been 6 months. So immediately I send them all 8 IDs. I send them instructions for car pickup. I'm just like, it all can be streamlined in one, right? So where are you guys? Obviously, you can not answer it if you think it's sensitive, but where do you see the biggest gap for me from sending IDs to getting a airport pickup organized to, so where do you see that this is where we are going to build? These are the top 3 things where we see we'll add value.
The gaps, like I'm glad you said that. And the gap initially starts from you booking the property itself. Like as soon as you book the property, like you said, you have to manually hand out the identifications, the check-in processes. You have to tell them that this is how I want to be taken over, this and that. So Qricle comes into play as soon as you've booked the property. You'll be received a WhatsApp notification on your phone itself of a web-based application, right? So that would be personalized specifically to Mr. Govind. So as soon as you'll open that, everything that he's been talking about for the check-in process, to my preferences, to what is it that he likes in a room, and what are the, if it's a birthday, if it's an anniversary, if he wants something special. So we personalize all of that experience right from the gap when the person has booked into the property, right? And it also carries on to, firstly, it's the check-in process, like he said. Firstly, as soon as you book a property, and after that, it's once you've reached the property, once you're staying in the property, there are a number of services that a hotel offers, right? There are activities inside and outside of the hotels. So a lot of times, like if we stay in a property, let's say Mr. Govind would be going there tomorrow, he might not have the knowledge of what this property has to offer. The staff would always try their best, but they have so much things to manage that they might not be able to have the personalized experience to him. So that is when secondly the gap starts, is that while the guests are staying there, while the guest is staying in the property, there is no way for the hotel to intrigue them to use their services, or there's no way for them to know that, sir, this is happening in the evening, this is, our swimming pool is closed at this time, and these are the offers that are running. So that is a huge gap which we feel primarily inside the guests that we're trying to solve. So let's say Mr. Govind goes tomorrow to a hotel. So while Qricle is there, he'd be notified in each and everything which is going on the property to the core, right? From A to Z, from all the offers, from all the events that are going on, even what are the tie-ups that they've done. So that's primarily it. And lastly, I would like to think, Mukul, if you'd like to continue from here for the third gap that we're trying.
Right. So basically what happens is the tech we have built in that way, in a certain way, that everything is verified from the beginning and stays inside a Qricle. So let's say you go to a portal, you go to a government portal, you add in your Aadhaar ID, and Aadhaar ID gets verified because they have all the databases. Similarly, we have partnered up with various sources outside, third-party APIs that provide us the total verification of Aadhaar card. So it stays inside the Qricle hotel. So the verification of fake photocopies of Aadhaar cards and fake ID proofs gets sorted there and there only. So these Taj Palaces and huge Marriotts have faced these problem where there have been huge problem of people with fake IDs and people who are actually in the field of crime, right? So they use fake IDs and they get inside these hotels, and it creates a huge problem for them. So what we do there inside as a security feature is we verify their Aadhaar and it stays inside the system. And next time you go to a hotel that uses Qricle, all your information is inside one QR code that you have to show in or at a front desk. It gets scanned and all of your information along with the IDs and all the proofs gets directly into the PMS system without any punching of the staff member into the PMS system of those IDs. So that is where we streamline the process. We bridge the gap there on.
Awesome. Now, at this point, I usually end up asking, how did you convince people to do it? But I don't really see the need of that question. But still, did you end up having to convince hotels to take it up, or staff training, friction, anything that caused like a little bump or a roadblock while you were executing?
So it's a very fun story. So what we do is we built a product. Now the main issue was that how to market it. It's like ki product to bana diya, now what about sales? How do we get onto the sales? So like let's buy a software that gets you the numbers from LinkedIn. Like it's LinkedIn Premium Sales Navigator. Like we got the Sales Navigator. We pitched to the hoteliers, and then there was one hotelier who gave us their phone number. So it was entirely a cold call because he didn't know what the software was about, right? So Manit goes, picks up a call and starts on explaining the product, and that was the first cold call got converted into our first pilot project. So from there on, we established that people really do want this product, and we till now have good connections with the hotelier, such that now we are building alpha product and we'll be launching it next month. He asks us continuously that when it is going to launch and when you will be providing us the full product, please let us know.
Right, because like to add on to that, the combination is like Mukul is genius in how we could build the tech, how we could present it, and I make sure that while we're presenting it to the hoteliers, what is it that they want to hear, right? If they're concerned about the revenue, if they're concerned about the time being saved, their manpower, the operations. So like just to that, and that first call was eventually a 5-star property that we converted. So we were able to connect to the hoteliers to a level that whatever problems is it that they're facing, we firstly tap that and we provide them a solution upfront, right? So that's when the conversion and the acquisition is easiest for us. So earlier, just to add on to that, we were on a different payment models. Something that a lot of the challenge was for us was more than the customer. It was how do we charge them? So that is something that we constantly figured out. It kept on evolving. We're still iterating that, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So now, does that mean that you're not actually out as a beta product yet, and you're just at a small circle of restaurants, or rather hotels?
So I'll tell you, we had already built our beta product, which was our MVP, and we have tested it on multiple properties, from 5-star properties to individual boutique hotels and to different segments of hotels, right? So for 5 or 6 months, we had just iterated, learned from them what is it that their problems they're facing. So we hadn't launched at that time, right? But now we are focusing on the alpha product. As Mukul said, we figured out all that we want to make sure that we'll be building this, and this is going to be the alpha product. So we'll be launching publicly on the mid of August. That is what we've planned for all the other marketplaces. Yeah.
Okay, and I have to ask, has COVID made an impact? Did you start after COVID? Did you reiterate during COVID? Like what's that impact been like? Because I know there's a lot of revenge vacation happening, like Govind just mentioned, he is probably also going for that. What has been the journey like there?
Right, I'll just start from here, and then I think Mukul can take over from here. So basically, essentially when we started, right, it was easier for us in the beginning because us time pe a lot of hoteliers, they felt like, okay, we need something contactless, we need something to market. They didn't even want to understand what the product was about. They were just like, we'll be able to put it out that our hotel is 100% contactless. Now you can guess they can come in, right? But then we figured out we're not just here for till the time the COVID is here, right? We're not a contactless solution or something. So earlier we thought of it we thought of ourselves that way. But now, since then we figured out that the problem is not just for, let's say, the safety or hygienic issues, right? Obviously that we're solving that as well in current times, but it's more to that. It's more than the pandemic. Yeah. So Mukul, would you like to take over from here, like how we
Yeah. So since people, so it's a very common thing that we have to bridge this gap inside. When people started revenge traveling, they were after a lot of things, like we'll do skiing, we'll do we'll do skydiving, we'll do everything that we haven't been able to do from the past these years, right? And one go-to place was the hotel front desk itself, and they used to put in a lot of queries that where to do these things, where to do these things. It was necessary for hotel to build further connections with the commission model to cater their customers and earn more revenue, right? So what we do is inside Qricle, we have figured out that we create we create a marketplace with the local activities that hotels have partnered up with, and we display it on the platform itself. So when a person gets inside a hotel, he gets all of the services from outside and inside of the hotel. So if he let's say if he wants to do skydiving inside in Dubai in some resort, right, he can book it just right there from his phone, and all the legalities will be taken care further after.
Okay, hang on. You said Dubai. I thought this was India specific. Are you international?
Yeah,
he's just giving an example as of now, right?
Okay.
But probably we'll be taking it can be implemented in other countries as well. So we treat it as a global SaaS with a specification of India currently yet, but we'll be soon launching a global version of it with all the language translations, because that is the real problem right there, right? You have to translate in a manner that is friendly to them. So it's where things get tricky.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. Awesome. So I've made you co-host because I was hoping you could show us a demo. You will see a few pop-ups of people wanting to enter the room. We will take care of that. Please don't get distracted with it. But if you at this point would like to show us a quick look, we'll be very happy to see that.
Mukul, would you like to show them the Karma demo that we had created? I think I've sent you the link of it before as well.
Mukul, I think you're muted.
So I'll be sharing my screen from the desktop itself. So it's in the responsive mode currently. So you can see how we help hoteliers. So this was one of our, can you see the screen, everyone?
Yes.
Screen visible, right? So this was the beta product. And although it does not have enough buttons and enough, but it has all the things that is required for us to gather the data that hoteliers do want this and this kinds of service, and their guests wants this, right? So this was something we made for Karma. It's an international time-shared group with few hotels in India and few hotels in Bali, Indonesia, right? So it's a huge chain, right? So we sat up on a call with the CEO 6 a.m. in the morning while we just woke up, and we showed them the demo, right? So pretty amazing thing that the timesheet groups runs by a membership model in which few members have a point system. So they have points inside their wallet which they can avail for further services. Surprisingly, that day we figured out that Qricle can be used for the same thing, to show the members of the timeshare group that how much points they hold and in what services they can spend their points inside the hotel, because it's a hidden fact. You go inside a hotel, you don't even know that hotel has a gym or not until you discover it yourself or you ask the front desk. But in the Qricle system, we show everything transparently, that what services do hotel has and what can you avail from these kind of points, and how much loyalty will you get from those points, right? So this is a basic system. There's room service, order food. A tour guide was the main thing that we used, created marketplace later on in the alpha version. So we'll go with the order food. So guest wants to order food, he gets today's offer. So today's offer is like everything, every stock that is getting that is like, there are mashed potatoes that have very less cost but a huge profit and creates a huge revenue inside a hotel, right? Those kind of things we put it at today's offers. It is shown on the top, right? And then we go, we try to implement it in a normal Zomato Swiggy model, because people are very used to it. People have it in their muscle memory where to go for the menu and where to go, how to add the food, right? So we try to build it that way. As soon as we add and we check out, I am upsold a few items to buy with it. So that is how Qricle increases the revenue of the hoteliers, because upselling on food items wasn't possible before Qricle. So that on there, a customer can decide to pay inside the property, inside the room, or at the checkout, and there the flow ends. So this is the entire demo.
This is the entire demo, and this is what the guest can just scan, and this is plug and play. Like, you scan the QR code and you're directly presented with the offers, what's going on in the property. If there's housekeeping, you don't have to call the phone for each and every request that you want to make, right? So anything and everything is displayed over here. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it of how the
Awesome. I actually have one question on how we go about it, and after that, I'll give it to Govind. So I understand that the app exists, and I am in there and I'm looking for it. But how do I find out while booking on booking.com or yatra.com that this hotel is a Qricle certified or a Qricle operated hotel? Or is it that I book it, there is a booking generated at, say, Hyatt, and they inform you, and then you send me, like, how do I, as a customer who's never heard of your company, discover that this exists before I reach the property?
Right. So basically, as like Mr. Govind was sharing his, right, like for example, he booked the property and he got connected with the staff that I want this and that. So as soon as you make a booking into a Hyatt or a Marriott or an Oberoi or even a smaller property, you'll be received a WhatsApp notification from, if it's a smaller chain, if it's an individual property, then you'll receive a WhatsApp notification from Qricle that thank you for booking the property. Let's say thank you for staying at Hyatt, Marriott, whatever it is. This is your link for whatever is it that you want to access. So till that point, that's when you'll be confronted with that something like this exists till the very point of the booking, right? So
got it.
And also for the larger chains out there, like we're partnered up with Sarovar. So their brand, then we'll be able to verify them on WhatsApp as well. So then they'll be communicating. But Qricle would essentially start off as soon as you book the property. So the entire check-in to checkout system will be taking care of that.
And we also plan on partnering up with these channel partners like Make My Trip, Go Ibibo. So they show amenities inside on their product page, right? That this hotel has Wi-Fi. So we'll show that this hotel has Qricle and is digitally powered by Qricle. So everything inside a hotel is not being used. Landline is not being used. Qricle is being used. So that's how you communicate with the guests.
We want this to become the industry standard for guest interaction, basically. Like is this Qricle enabled? So we'll be, like how the QR codes have started to really for payments specifically, right? And now every hotel has PDF menus for scanners, right? But we're taking a step ahead for that. So everyone is used to scan for PDF menus and everything, but we want to take a step ahead for that. So that's pretty much it for like when the Qricle is.
Awesome. Govind, back to you.
No, so Shruti, sorry, I'm already biased. I'm kind of sold on it. I mean, now, see, you guys are first-time founders. How are you defining timeline, growth? How quickly do you want to get to how many places? Because, see, second-time founders have something sorted, right? You're going to have back and forth. Is this going to sit independently? Is this going to be integrating with the biggest softwares out there? I mean, what do you see as your 3 benchmarks for the first year? And what do you see as the 3 biggest challenges for the first year?
Right. Thank you. Thank you for asking that question. I think that's pretty, firstly, thank you for believing in us as well, right? And I think when it comes to what are the 3 things that we want to do at this particular stage? It is firstly, we want to get to the we're going to a top to bottom strategy, right? So how the hoteliers think is for the individual owners, they look up to the higher brands like Oberoi's, Hyatt's, and Marriott's, right? So we'll be first converting them. So we'll be getting them on board. So as we come about, let's say we're having the top guys on board, right? So then it becomes easier for us to convert the lower guys, because if I'm an individual hotelier and if you come and tell me that our software is being used in Oberoi and we're pitching the same to you, that the hotelier is already convinced. You don't even have to go about telling the details and everything, right? So to answer that question, our aim is for us to at least, once we get the top guys, couple of top guys, then eventually in the lower economy as well, where when we talk about the number of hotels, so in January of next year, we're targeting to at least get to 200 and 300 properties. We've already partnered up with almost 200 properties through different channels and everything. So that's the goal for primarily now,
and building above the other softwares that have been in the market. So we are already integrating with Easy and Opera. So Opera is powered by Oracle. So it's an Oracle's PMS system, and it runs every 5-star property in the world runs Opera. So we have already starting integrating over Opera, and we are soon aiming to being featured inside their Opera's integrated partners marketplace. So we plan on getting a few market share from there itself, right? So we'll be integrating and being featured on their marketplace. So we'll gathering some share. And a lot of hoteliers, when being cold called to them and when being asked about the product, that if they want to implement Qricle, the first question they have is, does it integrate with Opera? So because all the 5-star chains uses Opera, so we are planning to integrate over that, and we have already started the process.
So yeah, just the third thing that you asked basically is where do we see this is we're not here for, let's say we've partnered up with a couple of chains and a couple of individual hoteliers and we're fine with that, right? We want this to become the industrial standard for the guest interaction in spaces, whether it's a 10-room property or a 300-room property, right? Because essentially what's happening is the advantage that we have is we're not a property management system. We can partner up with all the other property management system, and there's no barrier for applying Qricle into your property, right? If you're having a 10-room property or a 500-room mega hotel, that is where when we want to become the industrial standard for guest interaction there. And like Mr. Govind asked for us as well, essentially India is a huge market in itself. There are about 7 million rooms in globally. Out of those, 3.5 million rooms are in India itself. So that's we'll be first in cashing a lot of that, and after we find good product market fit here and everything, then we'll be expanding into globally. And the second thing which Mr. Govind had asked, the 3 challenges that we have been facing in the same is, firstly, I think the challenge that we're facing is just I think the consumer behavior is almost changed as to the consumer is educated about what QR is, how do you scan it. Earlier it was a challenge for us, but now that the pandemic, thanks to
Black Swan event.
But since the initial customer, our initial customer will be the hotel. The consumer is guest itself, but the person who will be buying our software is a hotelier, right? So he owns the hotel. So the problem we face there is that their staff is already educated and comfortable with one kind of software. They don't want hassle of adding on a layer of another software, right? So here's where integrations, that we have sorted the problem already, here where integrations stepped in. So you have to just operate one software and the changes will be applied to the other software itself, right? So that was a huge gap for us before. We did all the integrations, but now it's all sorted.
Yeah.
Awesome. I see questions, but I actually have one, so I'll be greedy and ask my question first. So now you've been able to convince the hotels, you've been able to show value, and the customers have now started to see. Is there anyone else that you had to convince along the way, or even your own employees, whoever you managed to get on board? Like, has there been a roadblock in convincing people to use this as a use case?
Yeah. So, to answer that question, for us, it might seem like it's such an obvious problem. It's very easy to figure out, and why is it already not in the market? But you'll be surprised enough when we head out in the industry itself, and when we're hiring right now. So we talk to guys in the hotel industry. We actually have to spend some time for them to figure this whole thing out, right? It's not just we tell them that, okay, this is what we're doing, and they're like, oh, this is something that's really, so for them to know the product, we actually have to spend time with the guys in the hotel industry for someone who has to join us and everything. So we have to convince our employees, even if it looks like all of this is very sorted, but they're still not that aware that, something like this could actually.
And the best advice was given to us by a hotelier, that whenever we used to go to pitch to a hotelier, we used to wear a shirt and we used to wear jeans. We used to be properly well dressed, right? But
Great.
Yeah. But the person sitting in front of me is a general manager. He gets up every day, he wears a pant, he tucks in his shirt, he wears a tie, he wears a blazer.
That's the standard,
yeah. To us, to him, we were like, these guys have a comfortable life, and how will they implement?
There's a disconnect there, yeah.
There's a disconnect there.
It's a small
perception.
But
no, it's a big perception. Yes, I'm sure.
Because they are influenced that way, right? So if you're, let's say we both sit in a suit and they are sitting in a suit, the language, body language there is that these guys are making that effort to make me feel
respect me enough.
Respect me enough. That if I am getting dressed up and sitting in front of you, what are you guys doing in this t-shirt and this jeans that you're wearing in front, right? So that's something that a lot of the nitty-gritties that we figured out, but it wasn't as easy as for us to say that we're doing this for you guys, come on board. We have to spend time to make sure that they understand the product.
All right. And how big of a team are you right now? I heard that you're looking to expand. Are you expanding from like what regions are you expanding in terms of employees?
Mukul, would you like to take
Yeah,
over?
so we are currently expanding. So we are currently hiring developers for the development of the stack. And we are currently hiring just the backend developers and UI developers just for the design, right? Secondly, we are expanding, majorly expanding in the sales domain. So we want sales people who have good connections inside hotel industry, because hotel industry is well connected. A general manager from South will know a general manager from North, and they are like good friends. So we want those kind of people who can pitch the product to other people and inside their network, because that helps a lot.
Yeah. So to answer your question as well, I think right now we're based out of Chandigarh. We're a team of 5 people as of now, including Mukul and I. And but we're
You're kidding.
No, we're not.
Wow.
We're all of like a lot of stuff is done by a lot of us together. We just do a lot of cold calls, a lot of sales, a lot of onboarding was done by Mukul and me personally to a first few of our clients. So what essentially now we're hiring sales professionals, we're hiring developers, and we'll be shifting our operations to Gurgaon soon in a couple of in a month or so. So we're building because that's where every hotel market is, right? So all of the that's saturated there. So that is pretty much in when it comes to how we're planning to operate there from and everything. Yeah.
Okay. Before I give it to Govind or the questions on the chat, just one last question.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a booking.com, Expedia.com, a yatra.com, a makemytrip.com can overtake / create another / since they already have those connections, pose a potential threat in the upcoming years?
See, we've already thought about like what if the guys, the online travel agents, those who have good amount of share and those who have already those connects, why don't they enter into the hotel itself, right? But what they're essentially doing right now is there is a huge commission when it comes to if you provide guests to the property. Let's say if I have a hotel, right, and if you as in if Shruti takes a booking, right, and I'll have to pay 20% of that entire booking amount to make my trip for just the commission. That is how the normal 15 to 20% charges is, right? When you provide guests to the property, but inside while the guest journey is concerned, the commissions you cannot charge 20% off of that, right? So basically, to answer your question, those guys are primarily focused on providing guests to the property. Everyone else is focused on providing guests to the property because that's where the money is, which is what they feel like, right? That's where the money is, because that's easy. That if we provide you guests, you don't have to convince the hotels. It's been going on for decades. But there is absolutely no one who is focusing on once the guests have checked into the property, how is it that we could come there and maximize the revenue, make sure that we're empowering hoteliers to essentially increase the revenue, reduce their costs and everything like that. So we don't feel they're already pretty much convinced and comfortable.
And mostly what we have seen in the like startup journeys as well of a lot of people, the niche always wins. So like Dotpay was able to gather a huge F&B market and earns a huge revenue. So Zomato thought like, let's do the same thing. We are already inside restaurants. Let's create a dining feature. And what happened 2 years after, the dining feature got cancelled, right? Because Dotpay ultimately won because it focused on a particular niche and put all the technologies and all the laser sharp focus inside that particular niche to increase the revenue of. So what we do is we increase the revenue of hoteliers inside the hotel. So that is not the task of Make My Trip and Guaibo. So it will take them a whole new team to figure out that how to do this, which we are already doing.
Correct. All right, so I've got a few questions. I think Govind's got to go. He had a prior appointment, but I'll take these things. Starting from, all right, hotels are doing it. Do you think you will share revenue or you will only pay the SaaS subscription? Yeah. Hotels are using it. Do you think they will share revenue?
So essentially, like I discussed in the early on, right? We only had a subscription-based model. Like, okay, you pay us 700 rupees, 500 rupees per room per month, and you take entire commission, you take entire revenue. That's on your own. We were working on a purely fixed subscription cost. But then once we pitched that to the clients, the hoteliers, we understood their psychology, right? They were like, yeah, if I am earning 100 rupees, I don't mind paying you 2 rupees out of it, but I won't be paying you 30 rupees upfront. So that's what the psychology is, right? Mm-hmm. So that is it when we shifted to to a hybrid model. We charge 99 rupees per room per month. That is the fixed subscription cost. And on top of that, we charge 2 to 3% of transactional value throughout the hotels. And that is included the payment gateways. So that is the catch there, right? So they're already used to paying 2%, 1.5% to all the payment gateways. So we're like, we will be providing you with 15% of more revenue, which is what our pilots had been able to do that. But out of that, we'll take a chunk of 3%. So they're more than happy to, once we show them that we'll be first enabling you to increase more revenue, we show them on their dashboards, they're absolutely happy with that. Then they're more than happy to give a slice of that.
Yeah, that's great. I have another question. Have you folks reached out to Mr. Ratan Tata for an investment yet? I am very surprised with this question, but yeah.
I think
I actually will end up asking a few investment questions right after this question.
Yeah. So we do plan to get in touch with Tata and IHCL Group, because they're very focused on hospitality, and they have a huge, like, they're the most powerful brand in the world when it comes to the hotels, right? So we eventually do have to reach out to them. We haven't as of now, but I think when the right time comes, soon we will. So yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, that now brings me back to Birdie tells me there is investment talks. I would like to know the investment talks.
Yeah, sorry, could you please come again? I didn't get
so a little birdie tells me that there has been investment, there are ongoing talks of investment.
Yeah.
What's I didn't know you were not bootstrapped. I thought you were bootstrapped.
Right.
So please let us know your investment money raising journey.
So essentially, when we started building our MVP, right, that was completely bootstrapped, and everything was done initially by us own. But recently, only a month back, we had received our pre-seed round, which was one VC in Bangalore. So we had closed our pre-seed round then, and now we're having initial conversations with a couple of VCs, couple of angel investors for our seed round. So we're preparing for that very soon. For some of them have the expertise, like the question was being asked, right, in the hotel industry. How is it that they could connect us to, let's say, to possibly Oyo, if Ritesh Agarwal could help us in a way, we're having initial conversations as of now for our
That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations on the pre-seed. I think Siddharth has another question. Siddharth, would you want to unmute and ask? I actually saw your question. All right, I think he's not up for unmuting. All right, are you focusing on B2B SaaS investors or industrialists and hoteliers?
So particularly what we to answer this question is initially it's just for the hoteliers, but in the future, because there is our app follows a certain layout and it can be implemented in a certain way that in future it can go to other sectors as well. So if you have visited the Bangalore airport, there's a huge screen inside a Bangalore airport where you have to stand and punch in all the order details that you have to, like if you want a KFC order, you have to stand in front of a huge screen and punch those orders, right? So why not, instead of that, get a QR code, just scan it on your phones and order food right where you are inside the airport lounge, right? So it's one use case, but there is a huge potential in other markets as well, in other industries as well, which is airport lounges, cinema halls, everything that has a huge communication gap between their customers and their softwares that have been already been implemented inside the property. Why not use Qricle to bridge that gap, right? So that is what we are aiming for.
I'm actually curious, when you end up doing this conversation with the property or whatever is the business the first time, they're usually updating their services every few days. And with a 5-member team, how are you coping with the changes that come in?
Yeah, I thank you for that question. I think that's the joy of working in a technology company. So we provide the backend to the hoteliers itself, which is anything and everything, the changes that they want to make in the menu, in the offers and everything. We train them first, that ultimately it's them that those who are managing the dashboards.
Like, but it's not, it's not like a total SaaS product that you can operate by sitting at your homes. It's not like that. You have to maintain relationships with actual people, because they can actually drop you for 10 rupees that if you don't maintain a good relationship with them, right? So you have to maintain relationships with them. So even though we give them a dashboard, we have a customer success manager that we plan on hiring, right? That will call the client every month, every few weeks, to check in on him, like, are you doing well, is the software going great, everything from that. So that is how we plan on maintaining relationships in long run.
Awesome. There's a question from Mansoor. Mansoor, would you want to unmute yourself and ask? Okay, I'll read the question. All right. So his question is, do you have a team to focus on UX?
Yeah, Mukul, would you like to take that?
So basically, as Manit told you, we used to run a media agency. We used to work for huge brands. So like one of our major clients was already a startup. So we used to do animations and UI designing for them, right? So I already came from a background of designing. So I was a UI designer and I am a web developer, right? And Manit is focused
Perfect
on
combo.
yeah. So Manit is usually focused on marketing and campaigns. So that is how we have a good set of values, set of key skills that we can put it into a product, right? So to answer the question, I already do the entire UI and UX study, but when the workload increases, of course, we'll be planning to add on a few more people. But as of now,
we don't have a team. We don't
the
have a
core team,
specific team.
we do everything.
Awesome. We'll be very happy to help you out to look for people at Creators of Products. We'll be very happy to help you. All right. Next question is from Govind, who's dropped off. Which hotel chain is building or has built this particular thing in-house?
To answer your question, no one has built exactly what we have built for, let's say, in-house or something, but for sure hotels, the larger chains like JW Marriott is having their own application that you have to download, and then you have to go through but the entire flow and the entire objective is very different. Like they don't have a single screen where all the services are mentioned. The user flow in such a way that, okay, they're upselling their own campaigns, this that they have completely different motives for their own application, right? So a lot of the even the bigger guys, the JW Marriotts, have built their own application, but eventually they fail to communicate through that with the guest, right? It's just for them to upsell their own whatever is it that they're marketing. So there is no one that has already focused on, let's say, building a platform through which they could in real time communicate with their guest and back and forth, right? So there's no one who has done particularly that.
And in initial days, we still highly doubt that if you're going inside a hotel just for one day, why would you be spending why would you be downloading an application and deleting other apps to download that application if you don't have enough storage, right? So
Yes. I think a lot of us do not want to download another new application just so that I can get into one hotel for 2 nights and ask. And anyways, we'll end up asking the front desk for facilities because the information on the app is not.
Yeah. To add on to that, our aim is for the guest efforts to be reduced. We don't want them to add on to those efforts, right? So we want just for you to be like, you check into a room, you scan the QR code, and then you order those services. We're not here to, let's say, accept these terms, sign off using your Google ID, none of that. So, that is something that we're trying to do.
Yeah. I would hate to be made to download one unless it means that I can't access the door without the application, in which case I wouldn't book the next time. I wouldn't download a new application, but that's just a personal opinion. All right. The next question is, are you exploring Airbnb owners as a target segment?
Right. I'm glad you asked that question, Siddharth. So basically, like Mukul said, right, we've initially started with the hotel industry, but soon we'll be expanding into other sectors as well, wherein hostels is our market. Airbnb is also our market, because there's a gap between, let's say, even if one person is 2 persons are managing the property, or there are services and their guests staying inside, right? So they usually have that communication gap as to when they want to call that person, how is it that they interact with them, right? So that's when Qricle can be applied. Co-working spaces, co-living spaces, that's where the gap is also there. And we were talking to someone in Stanza Living as well. They've been trying to do something of that of their own, but they also relate to this product as well, right? So to answer your question, we are focusing on Airbnb sector and a lot of other sectors as well, but primarily for us is the hotel sectors, and then we'll be branching out to the other use case scenarios very soon.
That's awesome. So if I'm understanding this correctly, you're currently on with a few hotel chains. You look to expand both company-wise and team-wise. Where do you see yourself in like 6 months or probably a year, keeping in mind that the travel industry is picking up, but it's not back to its initial capacity?
Right.
And almost every single one of your competitors, even if they're not a competitor like Booking and stuff, they are gearing up with the change. They've also evolved during that time. So where do you see yourself in like 6 months, a year, considering the situation?
Right. I'll just start off answering that. I think we can take off from here. From 1 year from now, where we see ourselves is, firstly, we should be having a good hold in terms of um, we have a good hold in the luxury segment, which is the bigger guys, and also the individual properties, right? So we want the industry to know of that. We want the guest also to be aware, and that this becomes a form of their habit, right? So let's say if you as a guest visit one hotel, and we want you to question the other hotel, that why is it that there's something
Why
experienced.
don't you have this?
Why don't you have this? So where we see ourselves 1 year from now is obviously a good number of, let's say, a good number of market share, and alongside of that, we want the consumers to be aware that this is we want to focus on that as well. So yeah, Mukul, would you like to add on to that?
And 6 months down the line, we have enough data collected and we have enough data points. What we plan on doing is that when you go inside a property, everything should be customized according to your needs, and property should already know that this is the person, she likes this, and we should already get prepared for this, right? And she normally spends this much amount in other hotels, why you should not spending this much amount in our hotel, right? So she holds this kind of capacity. And surprisingly, this kind of statistic is not available anywhere where you go inside a hotel, that you cannot possibly know about a person and what is that person an HNI, or is that person a VIP, or is that person not a VIP, right? You cannot possibly know, but hoteliers value these kind of points a lot, because this adds on to their points. Like if an HNI goes to a Taj hotel, they would give everything, all of their hospitality to that one person, so he spreads on the word thereafter and get them corporate deals.
But I'll give you a use case scenario for that. Like he's saying, for example, if you check into a property and you've used Qricle a couple of times, we would know that in that property itself, you like to order milkshake at 7 p.m. or you like to order a cappuccino before you take dinner. So we have the capacity to upsell you a cappuccino at 6:45 and personalized sending you an offer, right? So that hyper personalized marketing is also there. So that is somewhere in the future in the AI that we want to take that further. But yeah, that is pretty much it.
All right. If you were to out of the blue send me a cappuccino notification in the morning, apart from the fact that I'll be impressed, I'll also be a tiny bit scared. So I'm sure you will take care of how you mention it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to call that out.
It won't be like you'll receive
I know you have cappuccino at 6. Where is the cappuccino?
So a lot of companies do it very subtly. So what they do is like, have you seen the Pinterest onboarding? So they give you a huge screen and they ask you, what do you like? And then next time you go to Pinterest, it has everything that you are looking for inside in homepage itself. So it actually helps me as a designer a lot, but for a few people, they use Pinterest for different purposes. Like, so that is what we are doing for hoteliers. We know what you like, but we would put that subtly, not like we are creeping you out.
Like you just get scared. But yes, we understand your concern. Yeah.
Yeah. And so as I was asking, I understand that you would be doing this in 6 months or 1 year, but parallelly, the rest of the industry is also evolving as anti-COVID revenge vacation happens. Have you seen any early indicators of, say, a potential threat or a potential, oh, we didn't think of this and we have to quickly solve for this? Have you seen any of that? Because this is currently the time that travel sector has started to move up.
Sorry, I didn't get the second part of your question.
So have you seen any like early points of competition threat that you saw and you were like, we have to quickly adapt for this because we didn't anticipate this, and the travel industry evolved? You're 5 people. Booking is an entire company. They would be doing anti-COVID things for a few quarters per se. So it would have been implemented now, and you end up stumbling upon something like this, and you ended up thinking, oh, this is a threat that I did not account for or I did not foresee, and quickly evolve. Have you seen any early indications of such a threat?
Right. So yeah, to answer that question, I'll just answer the question and Manit will continue from there on. The first indicators that we saw is like we started this product in mid-pandemic, and what we considered was that hotels actually earn a huge revenue throughout the year. but we don't took it for account that how much they earn in a particular month, because there are seasons for a hotel, right? So Manali hotel earns good in winters and in summers, and in winters it's totally shut, right, because of the roads, right? So to contrary that, what we used to do is like we used to put in a pricing model of 750 per room per month, which we didn't study at all. We like they'll be comfortable with it, but slowly down the line we reduced the price. We figured other ways of monetizing the application, because we know that how a hotelier feels, how the industry feels. If you're not earning 100, even 100 rupees, and we ask 150 out of you, it will be like we're asking your heart to give it, right? So what we do is we put on a hybrid model. So we say that if you earn 100 rupees out of Qricle, give us only 3. So that is the main purpose, that how we solved the initially problem, because pandemic mein everyone was short of cash.
And
there
if
was
you
no
don't
cash
want
flow running
anything-
inside the market.
Yeah, if you don't want anything, then don't give us anything. That's also the point of it. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm almost at the top of the hour. Do you have any? I have one more question. Oh, that's a good point to take the question. All right. So, Amarjot, would you want to unmute and ask a question?
Okay, hi. Hello, hi. So I was just thinking, like, there's still a sense of like hostility when it comes to service in the tier one hospitality chain, and when it comes to individual hoteliers. So how do you manage to tackle that sort of like hostility about a sudden new technology coming in, and like the service that like in general hotels provide?
That's an amazing question. I think that's really deep into how we convince the properties as well. So I'll quickly answer that in terms of basically the software is being used by the staff at the end of the day, which is the people, those who are working in the property. So for them to be like, yeah, we don't have to adapt much. It's for not, like Mukul said earlier, that we're just adding a layer onto that. So instead of us giving them entirely different software, entirely different scenarios, we're lowering their efforts as well. So they don't have to immediately pick up calls and write everything down and upsell themselves. So a lot of efforts are being reduced on their end as well. So the staff is rather happy to have this software on board, because they're getting digitally everything that they used to do by themselves. So that their efforts also decreasing. So I think that is how we're able to convince the staff, which is eventually the even bigger guys out there, like your question, that the hostility is still there.
And ultimately what tier one hoteliers want, and other hoteliers also want, is to provide, it's a hospitality industry, so they want their guests to feel the satisfaction of staying inside the property. So more than it will create just 1% of problem for them, it will increase the 99% of satisfaction for their guests, and it is above everything else.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And to just quickly add on to that, like we also get a lot of questions similar to that the hospitality industry is very human centric. How can you take away that, right? So what we are saying is, we're not providing robots to give you services and everything. The human touch still remains the same. There is still going to be the waiter who is giving you an order. The receptionist would still be there to greet you with a warm smile. But where we are coming into places, how do you place an order? Where are the human tackles that you go through, right? We're bridging just that gap. So we're not here to technology, like we're not here to digitize each and everything, like where you feel this, everything is, you're sitting in a China and every robots are serving you. So we're not planning to do that.
So essentially, once I reach inside a hotel room and now I'm all alone and I do not want to have that conversation on a phone call, that's where I will. A lot of people do face
telephobia. Like
yes,
it's a huge
I don't want to. I don't want to talk to people anymore.
And we just read about a recent case of there was an article, just a quick Bollywood gossip, an article. So the headline was that Abhishek Bachchan does not place order inside hotel rooms. Aishwarya Rai does it for him, and we're like let's read the article. What's it about? Yeah, so it's like he has a case of telephobia. He feels conscious while calling, so he tells his wife. And to see it that way is like, he's just one person when being asked answer that question, but a lot of people do face that problem inside a hotel.
Correct. To each their own, like whatever someone's comfortable with. And there might be a reason, and there might be a case where an elder set of people are living. They do not QR code. They will end up calling someone. The guy will come deliver the food, but then they'll show them, you can do this on the app. And so it's to each their own, honestly.
Absolutely.
Awesome. This has been an amazing conversation. If anyone else has a question right now, I suggest that you post them on the chat and we'll take it up later on. This has been an amazing conversation. Thanks a lot for this. This sounds like an amazing setup of things to do. I am personally now looking for a Qricle code or a Qricle branding somewhere wherever I go.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thanks a lot for agreeing to do this. We at Creators of Products will be very happy to help you find your correct set of employees. Please post on the Post a Job channel. And for all of those in the audience, please keep going to the channel. Please come on, check. We've got a lot of other job postings as well from a lot of other companies as well. Thanks a lot for doing this today, Manit, Mukul. Thanks. This has been an amazingly enlightening conversation.
Thank you so much, Ruti, for doing this. Likewise here, I mean, like, you know, we're obliged to just sit in front and have this chat. So it's amazing for us.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking about our product, because we are all about our product. Whenever
we're looking forward to hear your feedback as well as to the first time you scan a QR code.
Yes, I'm hoping to stumble upon it and then quickly message you about it. Thanks a lot for doing this. Please have a great Sunday. Thanks everyone for joining us. This has been a great conversation. Bye-bye.